Wednesday morning, Michigan Insider Sports Talk 1050 WTKA, online at WTK.com. We're live here inside the Suburban Chevrolet Make the Choice studios. A couple of days ago, we spent time talking about number 29. We were 29 days away for the start of the Michigan football season, and we talked about number 29 in your hearts, number 29 on your program, Marcus Ray. It's funny, Marcus, because before that we talked about the number 30. And I mentioned how Andre Weathers was always a quiet guy. But even if he wanted to speak during his days in Michigan, it probably would have been hard for him to get a word in edgewise with a guy named Marcus Ray, the defensive backfield, with him.
Yeah, Sam, you're exactly right, brother. Dre was a beast. That was my dog. So Dre didn't want to speak. But behind closed doors, Dre had a lot to say. And we had a nice little rivalry going on for 4.5 years, man. Dre's my dog for sure.
Yeah, so Marcus, obviously fall camp underway. I don't know how much time, if any, you've had to spend down there talking to coaches or seeing the guys, but I want to talk to you about the safety position opposite Jarrett Wilson, because I think Jarrett is locked in at that spot. I mean, no guarantees are given to anyone, but they all seem to be in pretty much a consensus that, hey, he's going to be the one safety. The other one has been in flux with Delano Hill, DeMonte Thomas, Jeremy Clark, and you and I both agree that Jabril Peppers is going to play that position. Can you talk about, and with DeMonte in particular, the challenges that he faces going from playing linebacker in high school to playing safety in college, why that might not be an overnight transition for him, why it maybe is taking a little time?
Well, that's a great question, Sam. I played linebacker in high school, and when I came to Michigan, I knew I was going to play safety, but I redshirted. So I had my first year on the scout team, then obviously spring ball, and it took me a while to learn the position. But I think for DeMonte, he hasn't put it all together. He was an early enrollee, which is almost like redshirting. So he got here, and I just don't think it happened for him fast enough. And when there's a sense of urgency to win, then they're going to go with, once you get your shot, and if you don't show what you got, or if you don't make it happen right away, they're not going to shelf you, but they're going to give somebody else a fair opportunity too. But playing linebacker in high school means you're closer to the football. And most players who are good athletes or guys who can really play the game, you want them as close to the ball as possible. But now, once you get to the collegiate level and you go back and you're further away from the ball, there's a totally different set of learning skills or things that you need to be able to do, play backwards instead of playing forward most of the time. And then you have to be able to make plays in space. And then coverage-wise, things are a lot different. So I think DeMonte's probably going to, come around. He was a guy that I still had high hopes for a year ago. And I'm not counting him out, but I do know that there are some other young men who are saying we're not going to wait. And lastly, though, Sam, Jarrett Wilson shouldn't feel comfortable at that safety spot. Everybody shouldn't be saying, "Oh, Jarrett is the guy," because I think the defensive backs at Michigan are too nice. And I asked Clark, and I asked Delano Hill. Which one of y'all are just going to say, that's my position, there's nothing to talk about, I'm going to be on this field? Why is there a revolving door, a wide open opportunity for Jabril Peppers or Brandon Watson or anybody to come in here and play football when I just need more nastiness back there? Somebody better claim that spot and stop letting Jarrett Wilson feel so comfortable back there.
Well, I guess I should qualify the statement somewhat. And he's kind of referencing some of the conversations. One of the things that they've said about Jarrett is he has been one of those guys speaking up. He has been one of those guys not just speaking up to fire people, but directing traffic. They kind of liken what he's been doing to what Jordan Kovacs did. So I don't think that's a sign of complacency at all, or too much comfort at all, but a guy that more seems to be taking ownership of his role in the defensive backfield. As you know, I know that you got other guys that have played a lot of football, but he's the safety, as you know, so he's the quarterback of the defense back there.
Yeah, he is the quarterback of the defense, but sometimes it's always good to have a backup quarterback. See, for example,
right.
like Tommy Hendricks was a violent football player, but Tommy was smart. So everything didn't just depend on me. I was the quarterback, probably the smartest. I know I was the smartest guy on the team as far as football is concerned, without question. I mean, I used to get guys lined up. But in the event that I wasn't in there, Tommy knew what was going on. Dre Weathers was smart and could make the checks without waiting on a safety. Charles, it took him 3 years to get to that point, to feel comfortable, to kind of understand formations and the defense. But basically, that's what happened with Chuck Winters. Everybody was waiting on Chuck to make all the checks and figure it out and get everybody lined up. And that's why we had 6 strong safeties and 1 free safety. And I said, well, I'm just going to go after Chuck, because if I can beat him out, that's less. I don't have to beat out 5 guys.
Right.
I just beat out 1. And eventually, I learned the game, and Vance did a great job of teaching me the game, and I beat Chuck out. He had 2 years left. So what I'm saying is there should be more competition and more.
Right.
Jared should have someone breathing down his neck, saying, "Yeah, you getting us lined up, but I can get us lined up too, and I'm gonna go knock somebody out and get 7 interceptions."
Yeah.
So
I think right now you probably have some people that can match him and maybe saying they could go knock him out. I don't know that you got guys that are to the point. At least it didn't sound like it, Marcus. I'm not in practice every day, so I can't say with absolute certainty, but it just doesn't seem like you have guys on that level that can direct traffic like they say Jared Wilson. And I mean, I'm talking from Mallory to Matty. All these guys are saying they see a change, a difference in the kid this year. Time will tell what that looks like on the football field, but I hear what you're saying, and I do think there's competition at the position, but I think there's much more at that other safety position. But that brings me to a question, because you said you challenged those guys. You said, being a former guy, being a former player and a former safety in particular, you went up to them and said, man, y'all need to be doing this. Well, there's a guy that I wonder if he was a bigger talker than you, Marcus, during his days in Ann Arbor, because he's saying the same thing to guys up front. And his name is Will Carr, Marcus. Who talked more, you or Will Carr, during your days in Ann Arbor?
Will tried to out-talk me with that Southern slang, playing Dallas little stuff he had going on. But down in Ohio, I think we really originated trash talk. But Will he was a great teammate. At first, when I first met Will, I thought he was selfish, and I thought he was only concerned about himself. But as we spent more time together, I really appreciated his value, his skill set, his talent. Will was a great football player. He just didn't work as hard physically as he could have. And he and I talk about that all the time. And I was the same way. I mean, we did a lot of talking. We backed it up. But there was a piece missing as far as work ethic, let's say, where we could have been stronger and faster and been better than we ended up. But for Coach Hope and Coach Madison and those guys to add Will Carr to the coaching staff in some capacity, that was a genius move, because you need a guy like Will Carr around, because he's been there. He's not that old. He's not too far removed. He played the position at Michigan at a high level. He has a lot of wisdom and insight, to motivate and inspire those young kids. I heard the interview the other day where Frank Clark praised Will Carr, and that's what you want. Same thing happened when I was at Central Michigan with Butch Jones. You need a guy in there that those young men can pull aside and say, "Hey, Will, keep it funky with me. I mean, what am I doing wrong? Do I really have a shot? Or can you help me? Can you guide me?" Players feel comfortable having at least one guy on the staff that they can go to like that. And Will Carr was a great addition. Will's going to be a great defensive line coach one day.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that, because Frank said, man, I had a move that I thought was pretty good, and he basically he said,
He
Coach
said,
Carr,
don't use them no more.
said, don't use that no more. Yeah, he said, man, that's that. Whatever you do, that's just the. It's like you walked out. It's like you walked out with some bell bottoms on. That's what he made the move sound like. Like, hey man, your style is play. Is basically what he was telling them. But it's one of those things where you have that automatic buy-in. Like maybe when you told those safeties what you told them, or what Will Carr told Frank Clark, they don't question it because you've done it before.
Exactly right. See, I'm at Schembechler Hall very often. I'm a frequent visitor at Schembechler Hall. And at least twice a week when I'm there, I run into Jared Wilson all the time. I mean, I can just be floating in. I'll talk to Coach Hoke for a second, and I'll stop through the training room or somewhere. Jared Wilson and I cross paths all the time. And I will always say something different to him, like, when are you going to make the guys around you better? When are you going to decide that, listen, you got your thing at your position, you're pretty good and all that, but when are you going to make somebody around you better? I might say that Monday, and then I might bump into him Wednesday and say, man, y'all a lot taller and a little more athletic than we were, but it's a shame that there's no violent football players back here. And I asked him, who is a violent football player? He said, well, I don't think we got anybody that's violent, but we can be a little scrappy. So from an old head like me to a potential young killer, that's my way of trying to let him know, listen, elevate that whole hookup back there in the secondary. So I'm an honorary member of the coaching staff, even though I'm part of the media. They don't treat me like media, treat me like family. And when I go in there and have conversations, I don't tell everything I hear, and we keep things close to the vest. But I've established a relationship with half of that team. And I was trying to get to Jabril Peppers, and I'm going to post this video on Twitter, and I'm going to tag a few of y'all, and I'm going to clearly state that nobody on that defense can do this, can make the one play that I'm going to post when we hang up. And I'm going to try to tag Jabril Peppers just to let him know that all of the old heads are watching. And you know what? You haven't done nothing yet, you little yap. So you just better make sure that they get this whole thing together. But I love watching those guys, and so I'm sure Will is excited about being there too, because it keeps you young, you relive it, but you got so much more to offer, especially from a mental aspect.
We're talking to Marcus Ray this morning here on the Michigan Insider on Sports Talk 1050 WTKA, online at WTKA.com. Can you sense, Marcus, being around as much as you have? I mean, us on the outside, from a fan perspective, can only go by what we are told, what we hear. Now, you talking to them and being in their presence more frequently, I wonder, can you really sense some of the differences that they've given voice to of late? The increased chemistry on the team, the improved leadership. Can you sense those things being around them as often as you are?
Yeah, I can sense it. But I also can sense that it doesn't matter if it doesn't lead to victory.
No, that's true. I understand that.
No, I'm saying I think the players know that too. So there's a lot of emphasis on the changes made in the coaching staff, the switching of the positions, the leadership council. Guys are working out harder. The body fats are low. And, there's a certain amount, that's like a pie. That's like 30% of the pie when it comes to winning is that. Because you can have a team that goes out there that doesn't even really get into all of that, and they just beat everybody. And they're divided. They don't like each other, but you can still win. All right, because when you can go out on the field and out athlete somebody, or go out there and execute a game plan, or come together for 3 hours and then not speak to a guy for another 6 days until it's time to get him lined up, that kind of stuff can work too. Bottom line, those players know. What I'm gathering is they do want to be a closer unit. They do want to be a family. Brady has done everything he could possibly do, I think, in the last 7 months, 8 months to right the ship. But it all needs to come together in the form of wins on Saturday. That's what they understand the most. Everybody's doing. It sounds like everybody is bought in, but it all goes for naught. That's the sense that I'm getting at. It all means nothing. Sounds good. We got plenty to talk about. Everybody get excited. We think all the kinks are worked out, but they also know that they need to play at a high level. And I think Michigan is starting to get that little chip on their shoulder. They're getting angry because Michigan has been disrespected to the highest level of disrespect in the polls in the Big Ten East. See, I'm going to be on TV on Tuesday, all right? And that's Michigan State Day, I think. Like, I got to go through it. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. But, you know, and we got to make our picks and explain certain things. And I listen to some of my co-analysts, and I think their assessment of Michigan is incorrect, especially at the quarterback position. When it's my turn to get on there and talk about it, I will. But Michigan can be better than everybody thinks. I'm telling you right now.
What's their assessment of the quarterback position?
That it's Shane Moore's if Devin Gardner doesn't perform, or can Devin Gardner like I think someone asked, what is it going to take for Michigan to win the Big Ten, and then somebody said Michigan needs to lead the conference in scoring offense. And I'm thinking more like, really, if Michigan can run the football, play defense, and allow Devin to manage the game and then and pull out the cape when he needs to when things break down, Michigan can be right at the top. But they're really like, everybody's kind of down on Michigan because they're high on Ohio State, they're high on Michigan State, talking about Penn State and Iowa and all this. Yeah, I know. But I know one thing. What I saw in that Ohio State game last year, that's all I needed to see.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I needed to see for me to understand this team can win every game on their schedule, or they can drop 5 or 6. This ain't like 2012 where it's kind of like you knew they were going to get beat by Alabama or maybe South Carolina. This team is dangerous. And the fact that they're angry, we're going to find out if all of the changes, all of the stuff they've been talking about that they've been doing, plus the anger and the disrespect and the elevation of the offensive line and Devin Gardner as a fifth-year quarterback, we're going to find out. And at Ohio State game, we're going to find out if that team can play at that level week to week. And if they can, they're going to silence a lot of people.
No doubt. Great stuff as always from Marcus Ray. Appreciate you, man. I know you said that you're cooking up volume 3 a little longer. It's taking a little longer to put the finishing touches on that one. So where can people get the current volumes 1 and 2 of Rays of Light?
People can get volume 1 and 2 online, Amazon.com. You can go to MDN.com. MDN stays filled up. The inventory always is filled with Rays of Light. You can email me, mray29@gmail.com. Set something up. I think I'm going to switch my phone number up on y'all, so I'm not going to drop my digits anymore because, Sam, that's your favorite part of the show anyways. So I'm not going to allow you to have me dropping my number anymore.
Hey, man, you might be personally responsible for the increase in our female demographic, man. I mean, the ratings came out, and we had a spike in female listeners. I think it's because Marcus Ray has thrown his number out there.
Well,
personally.
734-618-9618. Keep the ratings high. Give me a call. Shoot me a text. Keep buying those Rays of Light. Keep listening. I appreciate the opportunity, fellas. Make sure y'all tune in Tuesday, the 12th at 6 o'clock. I'll be on Big Ten Live. And it's I think the campus tour is Michigan State Day, but the day before is Michigan. So I'm sure I'll have a lot to say about Michigan and Michigan State on that day. So y'all stay tuned, brother.
Hey, Marcus, before you go, do you have an idea of what your show rotation and responsibilities would be for BTN in the fall?
I think that let's say this. I think that they're going to use me in a lot of different ways. Last year I was on a steady rotation on the Pulse every Thursday, once a week. This year I really think I'll be doing games. I primarily will be on Big Ten Live. I'm not sure which day yet, But I know I'll be on Big Ten Live a few times before the season starts. So starting next week, I'll be on there. But I'll always update the listeners to, watch or be aware of when I'm going to be on there. But I think I don't know a for sure set schedule because we're all in rotation. So I could be on there 3 days a week, or I could be on there 1 day a week and do a game or whatever it is. But I'll keep everybody posted, and I think everybody will be pleasantly surprised with how often I'll be on there, and then some of the roles that I'll be venturing off into as well.
All right, well, great stuff. If you missed this phase of the show, the theme was "This team is angry," according to Marcus Ray. And Ray 29, appreciate you as always, man. We'll talk to you next week.
Hey, Sam, Ira, take care. And I'm going to try to post this video and make sure y'all tag a few of these young fellas. So I just need to send y'all a reminder. And then I don't worry about it. I send it to Frank Clark. But, and I told him, yeah, I got a nice little clip that can't none of them boys pull out. Matter of fact, let's hang up, Sam. I'm going to post this tweet right now to you and Ira and everybody. All
right, Marcus. Thanks a lot, man. That was Marcus Ray. Ray 29. I can't, I let him throw out his number. He can. that's just brave, man. I think about some of the email we get, and some of those folks have your phone number, Marcus. I'm just saying.